Good evening and welcome to the Lagos studios of IATV. I am Adegboyega Labiran with the news. A Lagos-based lawyer, Tope Alabi, has sued the National Insurance Commission, NICAM, Chief Executive Officer Mohammed Kari and his deputies for allegedly not declaring their assets. The plaintiff is praying for a court declaration that the failure of Kari, Tamas and Onahina to declare their assets amounts to a breach of Section 172 of the 1999 Constitution and provision of its fifth schedule. He also wants for an order directing the CCB to refer them to the Code of Conduct Tribunal (CCT) for prosecution, having failed to declare their assets as and when due. According to the lawyer, he had written to the CCB President Muhammadu Buhari, the National Insurance Commission, Board of Directors, Chairman and the Minister of Finance, urging them to suspend the defendant who allegedly failed to declare their assets. The Iyalode of Yoruba land and immediate past president of Nasima, Alaba Lawson, has identified sincere and robust partnership between government at all levels and the organized private sector as the way out of the persisting economic challenges facing the country. Iyalode Alaba Lawson made this submission in Lagos during a chat with IATV News. She noted that too much emphasis on paper qualifications and white-collar job was the bane of economic development, arguing that it was imperative for the government to be responsive in identifying with the business community in their country.
Government should work together with the Nigerian Association of Chambers of Commerce, Industry, Mines and Agriculture, NASIMA, and also the women group to grow our economy, because the government can only make way for enabling environment. It is the organized private sectors that can run the economy.
She expressed regret that businesses were closing down across different sectors of the nation's economy, but noted that there was hope that the nation's economy will assume its pride of place in the Committee of Nations.
Say if you are a politician and you're a woman, work hard. Let them know you can equal the male counterparts, not depending on leaning on anybody or trying to do any other way dirty to get where you can be.
The first female president of NASIMA called for a review of the educational system to focus more on skills acquisition. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, continues its review of the 2019 general elections on Monday with an interactive session with senior journalists and editors in Lagos. Officials of the commission, led by its chairman, Professor Mahmood Yakubu, said the purpose of the meeting with the media professionals was to reflect and appraise the exercise with a view to looking at critical areas of improvement for future elections.
It's been months after the conclusion of the last set of the 2019 general elections, and the Independent National Election Commission is still busy, this time reflecting and appraising its performance in the exercise that elicited mixed reactions from different groups and individuals that took part in the process.
Please cast your nets wide. The conduct of election involves other stakeholders far beyond INEC. What can we do to ensure that we work with other institutions and stakeholders to improve the electoral process?
This period also offers us the opportunity to make suggestions and recommendations on how to properly and convincingly domicile credible elections in Nigeria.
It's an elaborate and frank discussion covering the practical experience of some of the journalists present here, majority of whom were either on the field or were getting on the field reports and updates from their subordinates.
To us, we are not saying that the security guys should not in any way be part of our elections, because generally in Nigeria there is insecurity. But their rules should be limited, are clearly defined. It's also extremely important for us to note that the nomination of candidates has been a song, and that is the beginning of crisis in an election.
Then, some goodwill messages, a few clarifications and suggestions on the successes and failures recorded in the last general election, with a view to developing a robust plan and better framework for the future election process in the country.
The technical aspects of how elections work is something that must be really owned by media in this respect.
So if Nigeria gets it right, that positiveness would always rub off within the sub-region.
We need attitudinal change, and that attitudinal change cannot be legislated.
As the session comes to a close, the Independent National Electoral Commission assures the journalists and other participants here that it will no doubt harvest issues and implement needed reforms within its mandate to improve on the successes recorded in the last elections, beginning with the next set of off-season elections coming up before the end of the year. Thompson Andrew, IATV News.
The police has dogged confidence on Nwachukwu at an Ogudu Magistrate Court, Lagos, for allegedly resisting lawful arrest and assaulting a man. The 25-year-old defendant, who resides at Lakbere in Lagos, is facing 3 counts bordering on assault and resisting lawful arrest. The prosecutor, Lucky Ihe, said the offences contravene sections 117, 170 and 172 of the Criminal Law of Lagos State 2015. The defendant, however, pleaded not guilty to the charges leveled against her. As part of efforts to provide lasting solutions to the problems of brain drain in Nigeria, medical professionals have advised the government to create an enabling environment for its teeming medical workforce. They made the call at the scientific conference held in Lagos. The medical body identified inadequate infrastructure, poor funding, low remuneration, as well as bad working conditions as factors responsible for brain drain in Nigeria. Folashade Oguride has the details.
Migration of people from one place to another in countries of the world in search of better conditions of living predates history. Brain drain, which is defined as the migration of highly trained or qualified people from one country to another, has become an issue of concern to stakeholders in the Nigerian health sector. According to reports, the Nigerian health sector receives only 4% of budget allocation. Meanwhile, the annual health care spending for each Nigerian is $6, while that of the United States of America is $10,000. As against claims of the former Minister of Labour and Employment, Dr. Chris Ngige, that Nigeria has more than enough workforce and that brain drain is not an issue of concern, records show that with Nigeria's population of over 200 million, there is 1 doctor per 5,000 people in Nigeria, compared with the World Health Organization's recommended 1 per 600 people. Speaking at a scientific conference, the medical director, Lagos University Teaching Hospital, LASUTH, Professor Adetokunbo Fabanwo, identified poor remuneration, bad working conditions, and failure in pass rates as some of the causative factors of brain drain in the medical profession. He, however, noted that brain drain has spiral effects on both the medical and economic sectors of the nation.
You lose your young, productive manpower, and then you deplete your health workforce, as we have illustrated. And there's adverse effect on the training of the health workforce. So when your best brains go out, who's going to be left to train the younger ones? The strength of any nation depends on the nation's productivity. So if we have fewer doctors to treat our citizenry, then we have a less productive workforce, and then of course our GDP drop.
Professor Adetokunbo further proposed solutions to the problems of brain drain affecting the Nigerian medical sector.
Make the best use of those that brought, medically, scientifically, and economically. Make the best use of them. Keep as many happy and fulfilled doctors at home as possible.
In response to how brain drain has affected the healthcare sector, some respondents suggested that brain drain was one of the major causes of weak healthcare ratings in Nigeria.
Doctor-to-patient ratio in Nigeria is very wide compared to what the WHO recommends. You find that there are not enough doctors to cater to our booming population. And when those same few doctors are leaving the country, then you find that we're just brooming ourselves up for a calamity.
There's no motivation to stay back. Even the younger ones who are coming up, once they're finishing medical school, everybody's asking, what's your next step? Everybody wants to leave. There's no motivation to give back to the society.
In order to actualize a turnaround in the bad state of healthcare system and to improve the standard of healthcare delivery, the Nigerian government must put all measures to place Nigeria among top nations in World Health Ranking. From Lagos, Folashade Ogurinde reporting.
Ongoing recruitment exercise of 10,000 police officers in the country has been described as a good measure that will complement efforts of government in its fight against banditry and other forms of criminality. Chairman of the Police Service Commission, Musliu Smith, said this while inspecting police screening exercise for new recruits at the police state headquarters in Oshogbo, Osun State. Smith said that the commission will ensure that recruitment of police officers was done on a regular basis in order to fill the vacuum usually created as a result of dismissal, death, and retirement of officers. The police boss stressed that welfare packages and other social benefits were inevitable in motivating the police officers.
I imagine if the 10,000 should come in, it will somehow affect our strength, and definitely it will affect performance of police in so many places. We are going to make a very strong case for government that it should not be maybe once in 3, 4, 5 years thing. Every time, every month, we are losing officers. Accident, through death, through statutory retirement. So it's necessary that it has to continue. It's only when it continues that we'll eventually have good strength to work with.
He noted that the newly recruited officers will be posted to their respective states to facilitate community policing in all states of the Federation. A high court sitting in Ado-Ekiti has ordered the detention of a middle-aged man, Bashiru Adeyanju, in prison custody for allegedly raping his 17-year-old daughter. Adeyanju, who lives at 30 Irona quarters, Ado-Ekiti, the state capital, allegedly forcefully had the carnal knowledge of his daughter on September 10, 2017. Adeyanju was slammed with a 2-count charge bordering on rape and attempted rape, which was contrary to Section 358 of the Criminal Code Law. The accused person, however, pleaded not guilty to the charges preferred against him. The case was adjourned to October 2, 2019 for further hearing. And now the business news. The new Group Managing Director of NNPC, Malam Mele Kyari, promised to fix the country's 4 refineries before the end of May 2023. Speaking at the valedictory session for the former Group Managing Director, GMD NNPC, Dr. Maikanti Baru, and the assumption of office of the new Group Managing Director, GMD, in Abuja, Kyari disclosed that the new NNPC management would transform the country into a net exporter of petroleum products before the end of the tenure of President Muhammadu Buhari. Kyari explained that NNPC will encourage public-private partnership in the revamp of the refineries and will also support involvement in private individuals in building of conventional and modular refineries. He noted that under his watch, NNPC will provide the much-needed incentives that will help the petroleum industry grow crude oil production to 3 million barrels per day and shore up the country's crude oil reserves to 40 billion barrels. And now the stock market report. Stockbrokers traded in a total of 294.62 million ordinary shares valued at 3.218 billion naira. At the close of trading today on the floor of the Nigerian Stock Exchange, Cornerstone Insurance PLC recorded the highest volume of trade with a total of 80.12 million ordinary shares valued at 16.02 million naira. Zenith Bank PLC came second on the activity chart with 48.52 million ordinary shares valued at 922 million naira. Nigerian Breweries PLC led the pack of gainers with a 50 kobo to close trading at 60 naira 50 kobo. Cadbury PLC came second on the on the gainers chart with 50 kobo to close at 11 naira 95 kobo. On the other hand, Dangote Cement PLC topped the losers chart with a drop of 2 naira 30 kobo in its share value to close trading at 174 naira 70 kobo. Corn Oil PLC also dropped 1 naira 65 kobo in its share value to close trading at 22 naira 15 kobo. All share index closed trading at 29,318.02 points, all in 4,033 transactions, while market capitalization ended today's trading at 14.28 trillion naira. And that's the size of our package from the Lagos studios of IATV. I am Adegboyega Labiron, thanking you for finding time to join us and now returning you to our studios in Ibadan for the rest of the news. Good evening.